We are live now. Yo, guys.
Hey.
It's me, guys, out there in the world getting ready for the show. I got my man Ron Weisner and Steve Jones coming up tonight on this great live podcast. It's going to be off the chain. I said something else last week. It was off the something because somebody remind me of what I said. I wasn't off the chains. I think it was off the chitlins or off the corn. Oh, off the cornbread. Yeah, that's the new phrase now. It's going to be off the cornbread, y'all. This show is going to be awesome. That's all I got to say. So continue to listen. We're going to be on at 7:30. I know it's got a 9 something like that time clock now. But forget that time clock. At 7:30, in about 7 minutes, we're going to be on. So continue to listen to the music. You ain't got to be so bad. You ain't got to be so cold. Cause this dog-eat-dog world show is getting old. Come on, you can sing it. Jones for that. It's the Dirty Lowdown. Boz Skaggs in the house, y'all. Come on. Ron Weisner, guest host Steve Jones, coming up in a few minutes on Inside the Spotlight. If you're looking for the show, just check out Joseph Gray on Facebook. Facebook Live. Just search for Joseph Gray and you'll be in there. Put Joseph Gray in your search and you'll find me inside the spotlight. Five minutes. What's up, Brian? I see you, my brother. Come on in, y'all. Come on in the house.
Hey, did you guys send a note out to Cynthia?
Ron, we can hear you, brother. You're live now.
I'm sorry.
Yeah. You're inside the spotlight. Show coming up in about 3 minutes. Ron Weisner, the great Ron Weisner, and the incomparable Steve Jones kicking it off inside the spotlight. It's going to be off the cornbread. So guys, let's get ready to do this. I can hear somebody's radio in the background there.
That's mine. It's music.
I
Otherwise,
know.
I'd be in
Just
the
hold on,
comments.
Ron. Hold on, baby. Oh, Jesus, what am I doing here? Hold on. Let's go back.
The Spotlight Podcast is starting now. Please welcome your host, Joe Bray.
Let's see, Ron's going to be there. Steve's going to be... Here we go. Oh, yeah, I'm here. It's that time. Inside the Spotlight tonight. Special guest, Ron Weisner. Guest host, Steve Jones. What's up, everybody? It's your boy, Joe Gray, and we are inside the Spotlight. Kicking it. Yeah, I'm back. Been off for a few weeks. Some health issues. Glad to be here. Yeah, if you don't know, I was in a car accident. Almost took me out of here. But, yeah, I was raised right. All that cornbread I had down south, took care of me. North Carolina, kakalaki in the house. So if you're around tonight, check us out. Inside the Spotlight. Special guest, Ron Weisner, and guest host, Steve Jones. We're going to get ready to start this thing off. So are you with me? Put your hands in the air and wave them like you just don't care. Be with me tonight, Inside the Spotlight. Let's get this thing started. I'm going to introduce you to my guest host tonight. Former production manager and tour manager at the world famous Apollo Theater. Let's hear from my man, and also tour manager for the legendary Harry Belafonte, Steve Jones. Let me bring his picture up so we can see him. Yeah, let's do that. So where you at, Steve? Let me see. Where did Steve? Wow, Steve left the green room. Steve is out. Steve, where you at? Steve, you're gonna have to log in again. Oh, there you go, brother. Hold up. Where are you? Oh, there you go.
I'm there.
I see. Hold up, I see you there, but wow. Let's see. What can we do with this now? Okay, there you go. There you go. Now let's do it like this.
There's the face.
Okay.
There's
the face. Cool. There he is. Steve Jones is in the house. We might have to do the same thing with Ron. But anyway, we're back. Steve Jones, give him another round of applause. Steve Jones from Michigan is in the house, ladies and gentlemen.
Michigan.
Yes, sir. Y'all guys are off the cornbread too. Yeah.
Yeah, man.
So what's going on, Steve? I'm great, man. Great to have you back. Man. Another week. Yeah, definitely another week.
Look like I might be on a little delay here, but everything's cool.
Wow, that's cool. That's crazy. We didn't have that today at sound check. So if you want,
but you know how things in our business go. I
understand that. So I tell you what. Why don't you do this? Why don't you hang up and call in again? Hang up now. Yeah. Just hang up. This is live, and things go right. So we're gonna. Yeah, check it out. We're gonna wait for Steve to kick in again.
Okay.
Yeah. Ron, you be quiet, man. Nobody knows you're there yet. You're in the wings. I know you only got 30 minutes, so we're gonna try to get this done. Okay, Steve is back. Okay, Steve, can you talk?
Hey.
Now? Yeah, it's better. You there? Go ahead. Say something. Yeah, you're there. You're on now.
I'm here.
Cool.
I'm here.
Yeah. Cool.
Okay,
So how's it going, brother?
Man.
Yeah.
How you doing there, brother Joseph?
I'm doing great, Steve. Glad to have you back on the show, man. It's been a minute. Like I was telling folks, I've been in a car accident, and you prayed with me and prayed for me, and so I'm back along with the cornbread from down south. Everything is good.
That's how we do it.
No doubt.
We got a lot of folks on tonight, man. I just want to say hey out there to my friend Northern Vikings, class of '75.
Whoa.
Hey out there tonight.
Yeah.
My people from Eastern Washington, my San Diego State, SDSU Aztecs people, and especially my family and my Black and beautiful brothers of Fighter Side fraternity. We all in the house tonight.
Let's
in the house.
Give them a big round of applause, y'all. Yeah. All the fraternity, all the people from Flint, Michigan in the house. Steve Jones is representing tonight. Doing a great job. Yes, sirs. So, Steve, we're back again doing this thing, with Inside the Spotlight. We happen to have a special guest tonight, one of your friends, and it's because of you that I know this guy,
Well, I tell you, man, what an unbelievable dude this guy is, man. A little boy from Brooklyn who got more soul than anybody I know. Well, everybody else was dealing with Frankie Valley and all those other folks. He was up at the Apollo getting his groove on, man, to get ready to be one of the major forces in black music in America, man.
Wow.
And I'm just grateful that I know this dude, man.
This brother walking the streets of Harlem unscathed and unscared.
And you know that.
Yes, sir. Okay, so I tell you what, since I know that Ron is he's blessed us with his time, but he's on a time schedule right now, and he can only give us a certain amount of time tonight. Ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, I might have to bring him in the way I brought Steve in, but let's see. Brother Ron Weisner. Ron Weisner. There he is.
Hey,
Let me see if I can get Steve
hey
back in
guys,
now. What's
two
up?
of my favorite people.
There you go,
Two of my
Steve.
favorite people.
Brother Ron
That,
in the house.
yeah, that makes life so much easier to deal with and makes you look
Yes.
good.
Yes. Yes, it
That's what
does.
you guys have done for me for many, many years. I really
Thanks for
can't
giving
say
us.
that about a whole lot of people.
We totally understand that, Ron. Totally understand that, and it all comes from the heart because when you walk into that theater, I'm referring to the Apollo Theater, we like to show everybody love there, and if you bring it, that's what you get, and if you don't bring it, that's what you get, because that's why any theater that you go in, you should get the love and receive the respect, especially being an artist coming in there. You got to come in there with some warmth and some heart and some love, so you can get out on that stage and do your thing. So Ron. Been in the
Yes,
business for a minute. Started where? We're from where?
Brooklyn, Williamsburg, long time ago. I'm a couple weeks older than you guys, and that's where it all started for me.
Wow. So started for you there in Brooklyn. And how did you, a boy from Brooklyn, even think about becoming the man that you are right now?
Well, it's funny because I started out doing a year at NYU. At the end of the year, I really wasn't too motivated. I wasn't really interested in what happened in Italy 5,000 years ago. That didn't do it for me. And I remember quitting after the first year, having a big fight with my parents. They weren't happy about it. And they kept saying to me, well, what are you going to do? And I said, honestly, I don't know what I'm going to do, but I'm going to have to go and find out, but I'm going to do something.
Right.
So I basically.
Ron, I hate to disturb you, but is that
Yeah.
your radio in the background that's playing?
It is.
Could you turn it off or turn it down?
I can. One quick second.
Okay.
Sorry, guys.
No, I actually like your background better. I think you should stay over there and talk so I can see your background.
My world is music.
I love it, brother.
Anyway, so then, I went into the Army for a while, which wasn't by choice, but I wanted to get it over with.
Right.
And I got out and I started looking around for work. And I found a job in a mailroom at MGM Records, which was the biggest record company at the time. And I got lucky. I met a couple of young, crazy guys like me, a guy named Neil Bogart and a good friend, Cecil Holmes. And we went off and started a small record company in the world-renowned 1650 Broadway building, which was all music, as you guys know.
Yeah.
And it's called Buddha Records. And first couple of acts were kind of embarrassing, but they had a lot of hits and it helped get us some money. We were in the 1910 Fruit Gum Company and Ohio Express bubblegum music era for about a year and a half. Was very successful at it. I personally hated the music, but it led us to a path where we had some money to go out to invest in talent. And all of a sudden, the luck of the draw was we signed 3 acts. The first act was Gladys Knight and the Pips, who everybody was chasing. They just left Motown. They were offering him a tremendous amount of money. And quite honestly, our pitch was, look, we're 3 young, insane guys, and we might not be able to give you the most money, but we're going to kill for you, and we're going to make everything successful. So they agreed to come on board. We signed The Impressions with Curtis Mayfield. And the third act in that first year was a middle-aged guy that we were doing an audio cassette tape, and had unbelievable music. And I remember meetings internally, everybody kept saying, yeah, but the guy is not 19 years old. He's in his mid-30s, and what do we want to sign somebody to the music business like that? And I said, guys, listen to this music. We're in the music business. And the man's name was Bill Withers.
Whoa.
So all of a sudden, we explode. We have nothing but hits from all of these people. And it gave us the opportunity to build and develop and nurture talent. And at that point in time in the business, we would sign talent with one thing in mind. This was long-term this was going to be, body of work. It's not about coming up with one hit single or one hit album. It was really for the long run.
Right.
And fortunately, that's exactly what happened. I mean, it opened up a door for us, and that was due to the lucky part of the talent that we were involved with. And those were the prime times where you could be creative, you can make music, and you can basically, put it out there quickly and get a quick response. And it wasn't formulated music at the time. It was really a great performance, because live performance was the other half of the record business. And these acts, as you all know, worked all the time, all the time. And because they were able to replicate what they had done on record live, it was incredible. And the public just idolized it. And it was hit after hit after hit, and it just kept working, putting out, and each thing added to the timeless music that they started creating since we got involved with them at that point in time. I think it was probably, 1968, 69 when we started with them. And each one of them over a period of time, I mean, not in any particular order, Curtis was the voice of the civil rights era.
Right.
His music spoke to everything that was happening. Dr. King idolized his music and his words. Same thing with Gladys, same thing with Bill Withers. They wrote from the heart and performed from the heart. And a lot of people really were able to identify them. They weren't disposable acts.
Right.
They were
So
career people.
Let's go back to that conversation that you had with Gladys Knight and the Pips, in getting them to not think about the money so much, but what you were offering them. I mean, can you give us a little bit about what you actually said to them to make them say, "Nah, I'm going to go with you"? And...
It was like, it was Gladys in the group. It was her brother, Bubba, and her two cousins, Edward and William. And everything was a group situation. And, we knew that they had just left Motown, and a lot of record companies were chasing them down and offering ridiculous monies, which we didn't have.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember a meeting amongst Neil and Cecil and myself saying, well, what can we offer them? And they said, well, that's a good question. I said, look, we're going to offer them ourselves. We're going to kill for these people. And if we tell them we're going to do something, we're going to actually do it. Yeah. And we met with them a number of times and had that same conversation. And I think because of that, they felt, how committed we were, mm-hmm. and how crazy we were to make these things happen that we said we were going to do.
Right.
And it turned out to be an amazing relationship. Gladys today is probably one of my closest friends. And then later on, as you know, I wound up subsequently managing her. She asked me to represent her, and I did for many, many years. And we've worked together, I'm dating myself, probably 50 years.
Wow.
And, and her voice today, in my opinion, is better than it was when I first met her.
I got you.
And I don't know how many times I've been to shows with her and how we've done things. And, I think I was lucky in my life and my career for one thing. I got involved with people, whether it was at the record company level or the management level, where I was dealing with people that had a gift. That's all I can say. They had a gift. Their voice was their gift. Their talent was a gift. And, and that's what made everybody around them look so good. They were the ones who were out and about and in everybody's faces. And, when you think about some of this music from way back 50 years ago, that's still relevant today. I mean, how many times can you hear people get ready and keep on pushing? Right. And these songs were 50 odd years ago. Mm-hmm. And unfortunately, they still have to be relevant and apply today in this insane world.
Right.
So that just says a lot about the vision that these people had and the gift that they had. It was really about having a gift.
And a person like you and your partners, you guys had a vision also that they must have seen, and in that conversation must have felt that you were people who were going to be true to your word and deliver on your promises, and thus we have the relationship that you can right now that you can call on Gladys and do things with her, and because of you proved yourself to her, and that's
Well,
great.
look, I mean, we just helped. We brought up the rear. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, these people had the talent, and again, I keep saying the same thing, and the gift. If they didn't have that, nothing would have happened.
Right.
So we just had to make sure that if they delivered, we
Right.
had to deliver.
Right.
And we sacrificed a lot. At the time, we all, had families. Um, you know, we were first getting all of our lives and made commitments. And this was a new business that was started.
Mm-hmm.
And we had to support and back up what we committed to.
Right.
And fortunately, because of what they gave us to work with, we were able to pull that off.
Right. So what was the first record that Bill Withers did with you guys that made money for you?
Bill, the first thing that came out, actually, it's funny that we talk about the Apollo sometimes, but the first single that came out was what subsequently became the B-side. It was a song called Harlem. And then we started experimenting in different cities, and we started getting Ain't No Sunshine played, and then it exploded.
Okay.
And everybody was into Bill. And
Right.
Bill was a very private guy. He didn't like interacting with the public. He didn't like dealing with the press. So not many people knew what he looked like because he wasn't out there. And it was all about the music.
Right.
And he wrote all the music, and he was passionate about it. All those acts were passionate about what they had done.
Right.
And you can't orchestrate that. You either have that in you or you don't.
Were you in the studio?
Yeah, I'm
Go
sorry.
ahead. Go ahead.
I mean, I remember being on the road sometimes, like with Curtis. He would call and say, "Why don't you come and spend some time with us?" And you get, in those days, you were on a tour bus because, and keep in mind, there's 36, 35 people on the bus. I'm the only white person on the bus, and we're on the bus because they couldn't stay in hotels.
Wow.
I mean, that was the reality of it. But Curtis, this was prior to his accident, used to pick up the guitar and write songs. He used to pick it up, and it just came out of him.
Yeah.
And he would write songs. And he would say, "Ron, come for a couple of days on the road and tell me what you think of this and that." And you basically, you see how these miracles would happen. And it would just come out of him. And, and all of them had their own unique way of doing things. And I wasn't quite a big fan of tour buses then, or later on in my career with different acts that I represented, because it just was your time off. The high point of your day is a truck stop for an hour in the middle of nowhere.
Wow.
But that's what it was. And that's what all these artists at that time sacrificed. They didn't have a choice. This was the way the country was at the time. And it was very ugly. And when you saw it firsthand, you understood more about what you would read about or what you'd hear about. But when you're in the middle of this storm and you're experiencing all of it, you say, "Whoa, what is this? I mean, why is this happening?"
Steve, did you remember Mr. Belafonte talking about any of those experiences like that on a tour bus or touring in those times?
Well, it's two different times. I mean, Ron was in the early days of tour buses. They were funky. I mean, they were tour buses, but they wasn't built for touring.
It was just
really
buses.
Straight up buses. They were nasty. The toilets used to back up, and those things were nasty buses, man. Now, see, I really didn't start. I did some early tours with some nasty buses, but by the time I joined Harry in '85, I was part of a group of production managers who we were changing up that whole bus thing, man. And I spent a lot of time out in California and down in Texas redoing these buses, man. Because I mean, that's the only way for you to live and get around.
Right.
And we found this shipbuilder guy who built these beautiful buses all around edges and shit, so you wasn't killing yourself when the bus was going down the road and turning, because you hit a sharp end, man, it could almost kill you.
Right.
You know, and so no, by the time we got into it, man, we redesigned the buses, man.
Oh, that's great.
You were
That's great.
spoiled by that point.
Had to, man, because it was killer on the road, man. And those buses Ron was in, that was hell.
I hear you.
It was nasty.
Yeah. So Ron, did you by any chance, were you in the studio when Bill Withers wrote "Lovely Day"?
Not when he wrote it, but part of the recording process. Okay. Lovely, all the songs were written. Bill came from a small town called Slab Fork, West Virginia.
Wow.
I was there one time. If you're ever looking to go to a place that's safer than the witness protection program, go to Slab Fork, West Virginia. Nobody would ever find you. It was a coal miner's town. And he kept coming for years to come to his hometown. And I did one time. So I always, it was a running joke. And Bill, I went there once. That's it. I'm not going back there. And, but he, he was in the Navy for a big part of his adult life. And he wrote all this music, and he had this inside him. And he was in his early to mid 30s when this whole audio cassette was finished and presented. Now I'm dating myself because this was audio cassettes. This was not DVDs. It was not anything else. But you would listen over and over and over. And I would listen to the cassette in my car to and from work every day. And it was like brainwashing, but it's like you couldn't wait to hear it again. Wow. And through the years with the acts that I was fortunate to work with and manage, I mean, I've been around the world 20 times with Paul McCartney. And no matter where in the world you go, and he'd sit down, and his finale song for every show would be Hey Jude. Mm-hmm. And the audience, no matter what country they were in, whether they spoke English or not, and this happened with Michael Jackson, with a lot of artists I work with, the audience, even though they might not have spoken English, they sang along every single word in English of the songs. That's how powerful the music was. And I still think, in my opinion today, music is the most influential medium in the world today. Mm-hmm. And that's why there should be no labels on music. Let the music speak for itself, and let the public react to what they want to react.
I totally agree.
So Ron, tell us about how you got into your relationship with Uncle Q, Mr. Quincy Jones, man, because y'all did a hell of y'all did a lot of business together.
Well, what happened was the first project I had when I got involved, and again, I managed the whole group entity, the Jacksons. So fortunately, we were able to pull off out of their first two albums a bunch of hit singles. And then Michael was visioning going on his own. The first project we had done was The Wiz, the film The Wiz. And we were on location for about 6-7 weeks. And every day, all the time, we were around Quincy, Diana Ross, the stunning Lena Horne, absolutely stunning, and one of the classiest women I've ever met in my life. But we would talk to Quincy, and Michael and Quincy got into this flow, and they found out amongst talking to each other, this creative force came out of it. And Michael wanted to pursue doing a solo career and an album project with Quincy. And there was a lot of issues going on at the time. I was co-managing all of the Jacksons, including Michael, with, unfortunately, Joe Jackson. Joe was not a fan of Quincy. He did everything he could to break up any kind of potential relationship there, because Quincy started becoming a little bit of a father figure, which was threatening to Joe. Right. And Joe just didn't want anybody around that Michael would listen to, including myself. But basically, Michael really stood up and wanted to do this. I remember having meetings at the record company, And at the time, Michael wasn't what Michael finally wound up to be. I mean, he was a kid star at Motown, and he was turning into a young adult, and he had never done a solo project before. So it was a hard sell to the record company. Quincy was a very hard sell to the record company because they felt he was an old-time jazz producer. And plus, Joe Jackson didn't want him involved. So it was a hard sell. We finally got over the hurdle. And Michael's favorite word with everything is, I want to do magic. I want to do magic. And these guys in the studio created magic. And again, an important piece of this, which everybody should understand. At that point in time, and even it exists today, if you are a black artist, you assigned to the black music division of the record company, which automatically put limitations on what the record company would commit to do in terms of promotion and marketing. They had, everything was a numbers game, and they knew if you were a black artist and you had hits, if you had a big hit, you would sell X amount of albums. That's the most that they would invest in. And we were looking to make music for the masses, for everybody, and let everybody decide if they like the music instead of predetermining and only selling it for a segment. So a lot of things, and ironically, Gladys was in a black music division. Earth, Wind and Fire was in a black music division. And there was the same situations going on for everybody. And then ironically, if you look today at some of the biggest hits that all of these artists have had through the years were all massive crossover records. All of them. And because the mass amount of people had the opportunity to hear and to see. And that's the impact of the music business. Today is a little bit more isolated, I think. But that's why 40, 50 years later, you get in your car and you turn the radio on and you're still hearing Midnight Train, you're still hearing, Keep On Pushing, you're still hearing Ain't No Sunshine, Lovely Day. And then, unfortunately, in this past year and a half, with all of this insanity going on, not just the virus, but the racial stuff, how many times, have you heard Lean on Me in the places that have been playing it? And it was a voice at the time, and it still continues to be a voice. And that's the impact of music.
Well, I can identify with that. I remember riding in the car with my son, and I forget which particular record came on, but he asked me who was that, and I do remember telling him who it was, and the next day, because he's into music also, he had come up with a tune around that melody, through sampling and stuff like that. So, being influenced, if it weren't for people like Gladys and Bill Withers and those people who laid the foundation, that would be none of what we have today. Be it bad or good or however we want to look at it, the influence is still there, and because of the greats, the people who are riding on their backs today.
They opened the doors for so many things that most people publicly don't know. Yeah. They paid the prices for it, and but they were so passionate about what they did and the importance of speaking the words that they spoke.
Right.
Certain people more than others. Curtis was obsessed about expressing his feelings on what he had seen and what he has experienced. Mm-hmm. And he was a poet. And he never got the credit like Bob Dylan did, unfortunately. But a lot of musicians will tell you that Curtis should be aligned with Bob Dylan, right, as a writer and a poet. And I'm not taking anything away from Bill Withers or Gladys or whatever, but certain people had that certain thing. And that's what makes the music timeless today. Right. And the words so meaningful today, the same as they were way back when.
Mm-hmm. So
that's powerful stuff.
That's very powerful. So during sound check today, we were going through some of the pictures Hold up, Steve. Let me get you in here. Where is that at? Come on, come on. I gotta do it like this. Steve's got to come in here like that. Cool, cool, cool. All right. So
All right.
we were going through some of the pictures, and I think you pulled up a picture of Michael Jackson. See if I can find that. Was it this one? Nope. Was it this one? Nope. Was it this one? No. Yeah, yeah.
Oh.
This picture. This picture. You said you had a story about that one. Yes. Tell us that story.
Okay, that's kind of embarrassing. Anyway, so this was
You look great though, brother.
Yeah, right. My Jufro. So basically, this was the night of the Wiz premiere. It was. I can't
Say that
remember the
again.
name of the
This was the night of
time.
what? I'm sorry. Say
The
that again.
The Wiz premiere. The movie premiered,
Okay.
and it was in Times Square. And I forget the name of the theater, which is long gone. I don't know if it was Lotus State or whatever, but it was in Times Square. And the studio set up an after party. And they rented the entire train, the subway train, about 20 cars. And it took us from outside in Times Square down to the World Trade Center, which is, as we know, is gone, to the top floor of the World Trade Center, Windows of the World restaurant. And that's where the after party was. So all the way down on the train for 20 minutes and all night long, I'm next to Michael with that goddamn balloon. And he was loving it. He started out with 4 or 5 until people started grabbing it and some of them popped.
Wow.
But basically, this was the subway train ride to the World Trade Center for the premiere of the Wiz movie.
Wow. What a great night.
That's it.
What a great
Yeah,
night.
it was a great night.
Yeah.
You know,
Is there any video of that night?
The movie again, huh?
Is there any video of that night?
There might be some. I'd have to find it.
That would be great.
But I think there should be stuff.
Yeah.
But I don't know how many times I had sat through that film.
Wow. So
The only good thing about that movie is that when they would film for 20 minutes and then have like a 2-hour break while they were resetting and whatever. And the best thing was that Michael and I would sit and hang out with Diana and talk, and Richard Pryor, and again, Lena Horne. And it was just very personable kind of time and no attitudes and egos. And it was just great to be in the middle of that. And for me, you kidding? Some kid from Brooklyn, what I know.
That's crazy.
And just to be in the middle of it and get along, and later through the years become friendly with all of them, was just lucky.
Wow. So I know that you're short on time, but what we're going to do right now, I know you had an involvement with the Apollo and Oprah Winfrey and OWN, and they did a event at the Apollo with these guys.
Yeah. Earth, Wind, and Fire.
Gladys
One
Knight.
of the best live bands ever. Yeah, we did. I think the first night was Gladys.
Yeah.
And at the end of the show, we had a big surprise that we didn't tell anybody about. And it was.
I thought the first night was Smokey.
First night was Gladys. Second night was Smokey. Third night, Earth, Wind, and Fire. Last night was
Isley Brothers.
Isley Brothers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was a great gift you gave us, Ron.
It was
at the Apollo for us to do those 4 shows. Man.
Was the best live performance, and because you guys being in a building made everything look so great. Everybody knew where we were going and what we were looking to do and accomplish, and they came with their A game, and you guys delivered your A game. You know, this picture I'm looking at, Ramsey Lewis, who started with Maurice White, Earth, Wind, and Fire, and they did, he performed the song, with them on stage that night, which was a really very special moment to the band.
Oh, yeah.
And to Ramsey. And, everybody was very, very happy to be part of that series of shows. The Apollo was their early history. And they all felt that when they started out and when they had the opportunity to work the first time at the Apollo, that they achieved success.
Right.
And that's what all these artists thought about. And I mean, I remember my first experiences sneaking out of my parents' home and taking the subway, up to Harlem to see Tina, and then Brown a couple of times, Ella a couple of times, while all my friends were going to the Brooklyn Paramount to see Frankie Valli and the Four Seasons. It wasn't my kind of thing. So I just gravitated to go uptown. And everybody kept telling me, hey man, it's too dangerous. You can't go. You can't go there. And I would go, and I never had a problem. I took the subway, I got out 125th Street, and I walked the 7 or 8 blocks, and I never had a problem, ever. And it was probably the best thing I ever done, going to see shows there. And I would sit, as you guys know, the upper balcony in the last couple of rows, because those were the cheapest seats.
Right.
And basically, I remember the first time coming to work at the Apollo, do a show, and it was such an emotional feeling to walk out on stage and stand there on the stage. And I remember looking up at that second balcony, and I'm saying to myself, damn, I can't believe I'm on this stage.
Wow.
It just really, really got to me. And then subsequently, and you know how many events I've done there, whether it was for the Apollo, for the theater, for different television specials, for the Jazz Foundation, so many shows and so many people that had nothing but respect for participating.
Right.
It was the best. And I've worked all over the world in every conceivable kind of venue. And there's still something magical about the building. Even though sometimes our crew would be more people than were actually sitting in the audience. But it's part of your history.
Right. Well, saying that, I see that one of the all-time greats of the Apollo is listening to us, Brother David Rodriguez. We want to give him a big shout out for joining in tonight. Yeah, Dave.
Yeah.
I'll say hello to you. He's actually saying, hey, Steve and Joe, miss you guys.
Hey, David.
Definitely miss you, Dave. Definitely miss you, Dave.
David was responsible for me being at the Apollo. So
Exactly.
he's a big shout out for me, man.
Yeah, and I got brother Brian Durham, who's a stagehand extraordinaire at the Apollo. He's doing work now in movies, and my homeboy it's Ronald Blakely is on also, and brother Joe Whedon, the guy who actually got me in the Apollo, is on with us now. He's responsible for me.
You guys don't realize, but I'm very friendly with a lot of managers, and I'm fortunately friendly with a lot of artists. And I've never heard anything negative about working in the building, because you guys went out of your way to make things as easy as possibly could be. And there's not many people that would say that about a lot of venues.
Right,
and you guys in particular, you've left your mark. Right. And, and all the artists that have worked, well, most of them, were serious at their work and what they had done. So that meant a lot to them.
Right.
Yeah, but
for these other events.
But the real underlying story, Ron, is that that you as a entertainment manager was just such a class act. And the reason why, when you came to the Apollo and you and I got to be very close, we just recognized each other as being, good gentlemen, good people. And we believed in the product and the way in which you manage the flow of things, because in working with you over the years that I have been able to do these shows with you, and you hired me to be your staging supervisor, is that you get it. And as a producer, you understand what it takes in order to make the magic happen. And a lot of guys don't get that whole idea. I mean, I've seen you turn down millions of dollars on shows because it wasn't going to be managed properly, and the money wasn't in the right places. And you would walk away and say, "Look, if we don't have what we need to have, we're not going to do it." And a lot of people wouldn't do that, but you do.
Thank you.
Because you're a first class kind of guy, man.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, go ahead, Ron. Go ahead.
You learn from experience, the same as you guys did. There are certain
Yeah.
people that you used to be excited to look forward to coming to the building, and then they get there, and then you can't wait for them to leave the building. You know, and we've all been in that situation.
Yes.
And it doesn't matter who, what, where. And there are certain acts today, I'm not going to get into it, that there's not enough money in the world that I would do a show with. My sense of humor is not that good, and life is too short. So you learn the hard way, and you try to deliver for everybody that you could tell them. You're going to take care of them. You're going to look out for their welfare. And for the artists, we've done a bunch of events that weren't, some of them were televised, some of them weren't. I remember, when we did an event for Aretha, and Aretha was very difficult. I had nothing but respect for her, but she was difficult at times. And I remember, I said to her, Aretha, I've known you for years, okay? I'm just going to say something to you. You can tell me to leave or whatever. Please trust me. I would never do anything to make you look bad or this or that or whatever. And she just came over and she hugged me and she said, I know, I trust you. And she had a great time, and we had some great people as part of the show, acknowledging her. And, you have to get to a point in your life and your career. In this business, this is not the garment center. This is creative people. And you need to make sure that you're going to deliver on what you're telling them you're going to deliver on. Otherwise, nobody wants to work with you again.
Most definitely, Ron. Well, we definitely appreciate you taking the time out to give us your heartfelt opinion about what you know and where you've been. And I want everybody to check out the picture there. Ron has a book out. You can actually get it on Amazon. Listen Out Loud, A Life in Music, Managing McCartney, Madonna, and Michael Jackson. And Ron, I would just want to know, would you be interested in coming back and sharing more of this information with us at another time?
Yeah, we'll talk, because there's a couple of other people I'd like to make the audience aware of.
Okay.
Stories and facts that they might not be aware of that I think are very important.
Definitely.
And but again, the major thing is the artists that I talked about. The music, even though some of them are gone, lives forever.
Right.
The music is timeless, and none of us can change that, and that says a lot about these people. I mean, every day, like I said, I get in the car and I turn on the radio, and there's Bill Withers, and there's Michael Jackson, there's Curtis. And it hits me maybe different than a lot of people. But I remember where I was when that song was recorded and what was happening. I remember making the mini movies with Michael. I mean, I have a different perspective of Beat It than just the record. I knew what went into doing all that. So you see things, but the impact is timeless.
Wow.
And that's the special thing about this business, more so than anything else.
A very profound statement. Steve, anything you want to say?
No, I'm just saying, Ron's correct. I mean, and Joe, you would remember this when we had Michael at the Apollo, man, how special that was.
Oh, yes.
I think he did 4 songs, and each song was his own production, man. We built that. Remember, we in front of the stage, we built another 5 feet.
Right.
And he had to put in 4 industrial fans.
Yeah.
To blow the clothes up.
Yeah, right. Remember that.
Yeah, man. But each song was like his own damn performance, man.
Absolutely.
Such a soft-spoken guy, man. Wonderful.
Next time we'll talk about, you mentioned fans.
I didn't hear you, Ron. What'd you say next time? You talk about what, Ron?
Next time, I'll tell you something about with Michael. We built the first cherry picker and built it into our stage, because you guys know what a cherry picker is.
Yes, sir.
But basically, Michael had this death wish about he'd run from the rear of the stage to the front, to the lip of the stage, and stop short to tease the audience. And we kept saying, Mike, this is dangerous. Somebody's going to grab you, and they're going to pull you out, and you're going to be gone.
Wow.
So that's why we came up with this idea to build a cherry picker. And the first question that came out of him was a cherry picker. Beneath it went up, these giant fans went on. to blow his hair and his clothes and everything up in the air. So when you said fans, I remember Steve real well from another standpoint.
Yeah. Ron, it's been a pleasure, brother. We definitely.
Thank you. Great to see you guys again. I'm sorry I don't see you as frequent as we used to, but thank you.
It's okay. It's definitely okay, Ron. Glad to have you in this event and in this medium, and I'm glad. I hope that people got to understand and learn a lot about what it takes to make music. The history of music is invaluable. Ron Weisner, we honor you tonight. Inside the Spotlight, my special guest Steve Jones. We're gonna kick it. We're gonna have you back, Ron. Okay?
Okay.
Steve,
Definitely got to get you back, Ron.
Yeah. Steve, why don't you stick around?
Very few things that you do, man. You got a whole host of things out there that you're doing, man. We need to talk about that.
No doubt. We'll get it.
I'm in the middle of doing some documentaries. We can talk more about that next time. And,
Most definitely.
Definitely so.
All right.
You
So
and Chuck Berry and Muhammad Ali. That'd be
and
2.
Sly Stone. Yeah.
Wow.
Sly Stone.
We got some great coming.
It's going to be Off the Cornbread, y'all. Inside the Spotlight. My main man, Ron Weisner, tonight. Want to thank you. Much love, much blessings. Ladies and gentlemen, the incomparable Mr. Ron Weisner. Thank you, Ron. Take care. Steve, stick around for a minute.
Bye.
All right, Ron.
Yeah. See where we at here.
That was good, man.
That was good, man. Yeah. Our time at the Apollo, we got Ron Weisner talking about those good old days. The tour bus.
Oh yeah.
Wow. Yeah, I can envision what he was talking about. Yeah, because I grew up in Rocky Mount, and I lived right down the street from a bus station, and I know what those buses back in those days were like. They didn't do too much to renovate them to accommodate, any kind of, sleeping or arrangements or cooking or anything like that. It was like, it is what it is.
And you know what's funny is that James Brown's band, they never had a real tour bus. They still stayed on them funky little buses, man.
Wow.
Even when they came to the Apollo the last couple of times, man.
Yeah, that's crazy.
That's crazy, man.
I guess some people say if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Yeah. We definitely got to get this streaming thing together where we're not stalling. I see we got a lot of stoppage during the show, so maybe I got to check on my bandwidth to see what's happening with that for the next time. But all in all, I think it was a great show. We had some great. We still want to give a shout out to all the people who chimed in tonight. Brother Joseph Whedon, thank you so very much. Michelle Cox, what's up, girl? Married, single, and in between. You still married? You still single? Or you in between? Michelle Cox is in the house. Joseph Whedon, my brother, love you. If it were not for you, I would not be inside that theater right now. I want to let you know that. I would not have been inside that theater because I'm not inside that theater now. David Rodriguez, I want to say to you, brother, one of the best CEOs, you had a heart. Your heart is just like Ron Weisner. I just want to say to you, you were gracious, loving, and I know that the J Impact is loving what you're doing over there right now. A great man, and I honor you. Miss you too, brother. Brian Durham. Yo, back in Barbados when you were swinging on those trusses over there, putting that set up in Barbados, man. Love you, Brian. Thanks everybody for checking in. Once again, who was that? My homeboy Ulysses Deutsch is coming in, kind of late, but it's all cool. And to all the people out in Flint, Michigan, Steve's hometown. Yes.
My Flintstones.
Flintstones. Until the next time, ladies and gentlemen, hit us up next Wednesday. I don't know who we're going to have. Maybe Brother Ron is going to be back with us, but we'll see. Okay? Inside the Spotlight. Check us out. Thank you, Steve.
Thank you, brother.
Reggie Barrett, thank you, my brother. See you, man. Rocky Mount's in the house. Yeah, that's what I like. Rocky Mount.
Yep.
Who else is out there? Thank you, one and all, for checking in. Hope you like the show. I'm going to put it up again so you can all check it out. I want you to share it, because this information is invaluable. People like Ron Weisner, they don't come around too often. I'm lucky to know him. I'm lucky to know my man Steve Jones. Incredible time with him at the Apollo Theater and moving forward. We love you all. Love you too, Joe Weeden. Much love and respect, my brother. Great interview. Thank you, Reggie Barrett. Thank you for listening in. Give my hometown a shout out. I'm coming there to do some shows pretty soon, so watch out, Rocky Mount. Tar Heel. It was off the cornbread. Oh, what we say? Oh, in the spotlight. You're in the spotlight. Ooh, in the spotlight. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us. Until next time, be well. The power of one. It all makes a difference. We're here to do this thing together. Let's do it right. Put a smile on your face. Make somebody happy. I love you all. Thank you and good night. Bye, Steve.
Bye, brother.